Hello everyone, my name is Wendy Hart and I am a junior at Colorado State in the Ag Business program. I'm here today to chat a little bit about the Delta Smelt or large farming issue in California and the fight for water in our Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta. Ultimately, water is required to sustain life. Everyone needs it and should be concerned about what is happening to it, where it's going, and why it's going there. Basically, California's drying up. We're in the middle of a very large mega drought, and our water levels for beneficial uses have dropped dramatically. Water from water-rich Northern California is pumped to Central and Southern California to supply citizens and large farming operations alike. This is so important because half of the nation's fresh fruits, produce, and nuts are produced here in California's Central Valley. While the soil is very fertile, there's not a lot of summer rainfall and extra irrigation has to happen. Problem is there's not enough water to go around, and that's especially critical in drought seasons such as the one we're in. Currently, 240,000 acre-feet per year is being shipped through the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta and pushed straight out into the ocean because of the Delta Smelt having a higher priority value. So I'm breaking down this highly contentious issue about sending more water back to California farmers for food production and for jobs, or saving the struggling Delta Smelt fish, a fish that's been on an exponential decline for a few decades. The Delta Smelt is a 3-inch long fish that has no real marketable value, but it's a great indicator of the overall health of the estuary, the watercourses, and the surrounding lands. It lives only 1 year, so it's inherently vulnerable to these drought cycles. It's a picky little fish. It lives in a very small range with very specific conditions. Its value really is in its ability to tell us that something else bigger is happening in the Delta and there may be more problems coming. It was first noticed to be on the major decline in the 1980s. However, those characteristics that sent it on decline haven't been completely identified. We know that part of it goes back to habitat destruction, but they don't know exactly which aspect caused it to take the great downturn. Millions of dollars have been spent each year researching and publishing reports that most average Californians just can't decipher. Incendiary remarks that have been made by politicians, interest groups, and news sources, they're hard to navigate. Because the scientists aren't sure what the decline really started or why the decline really started, they have done all of these studies, and by 2010 they've compiled all this data and they took it into the government, and the Delta Smelt was declared an endangered species and put on a protection list. Because of this, fresh water was ordered to be pushed through the Delta and then back into the ocean, which was said to improve local conditions for the fish to propagate itself. Much of this water was taken out of farming allocations, and cultivated fields were allowed to lay fallow and have been for many years. Farm workers continue to be laid off, and rural towns are drying up just like the fields. Since much of California relies on water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta to be pumped into their region, when these pumps are shut off for the smelt, the farmers that feed us are really feeling the pinch. Yet again this summer, farmers are expected to receive somewhere between 0 and 5% of their legal allotments of water. Yet the Delta Smelt, they're going to get all of their water, except they haven't actually found a live fish in their survey efforts in the last 3 years. Department of Fish and Wildlife survey, and they've come up with 0. So while Californians are fighting for their land, the farm workers are fighting to provide for themselves and their families, and scientists are saying that it's likely too late for the Delta Smelt. Fresh water that could be easily re-diverted to the farms and irrigating food crops continues to flow into our ocean just unobstructed. After more than a decade of failed conservation efforts, it's time to move on. We've spent time, money, and precious water, and the fish aren't doing any better. Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We keep doing the same thing, and we're not getting any different results. While I recognize California isn't the only state feeling the effects of drought in the West, its production of food for the nation makes it extremely important. I've explained that what we are doing has not worked and likely won't start to work. The Delta Smelt are going to be extinct, and the farmers will be following if something doesn't change soon. It's time to regroup and use this as a learning experience to prevent extinction of more species while allowing people to return to work as well as regain production of food for 1 out of every 2 people in the nation.